Welcome to Yoga and Pilates. We are going to start standing today, and all you need, as usual, is just a mat and a little bit of space. I think that's it. I'm going to pop everyone onto mute real quick, and then we will get going. So I'll meet you standing at the top of your mat. All righty. Okay, so we're just gonna kind of get started today right into it because I have a couple of good things that I want us to get through. So our first one and our first couple are just gonna be still connecting breathing to movement. So for all of these first couple, I just want you to move at your own pace. So I'll give you the inhale range of motion and the exhale range of motion, and just take it however fast or slow you need to get warmed up and to get started today based on how you're feeling. So first off, we're going to start our two ranges of motion are going to be an inhale to sweep those arms up overhead, and we're going to find a nice big stretch here. And then with our exhale, we're just going to walk it down into our forward fold. You can always start with those knees bent and just find a nice little relaxation of the upper body. So with that inhale, sweeping those arms up, nice big stretch up overhead. And then with that exhale, finding our forward fold, flowing a couple of times here just to get started and get connected with your breathing. So with that exhale, for your forward fold, like I said, you can always start with those knees bent and then sort of work your way up to as your hamstrings and the back of your legs get warmed up, getting a little bit more length there, a little bit more stretch. With that inhale, as your upper body starts to warm up, you can always find a little mini back bend. So as you bring those arms up overhead, maybe just bringing them slightly behind the head, just to find that nice big stretch through the back. Couple more times here, just like that. And go ahead and find 3 more nice deep breaths for me here. At the end of that third deep breath, we're going to meet in our forward fold. So you can find that nice big exhale at the end of that third breath. And I'll meet you down in our forward fold here. Okay, so up next, our range of motion, we're going to come through downward dog first. So go ahead and bend those knees if you need to, plant those hands, and then we're going to step those feet back and press the hips up and back in our down dog. So taking a moment here, since this is obviously our first of the day, to maybe pedal out those heels, find a little bit of length through the back side of the legs, bringing the ears between the biceps, finding that just nice overall stretch that this down dog gives you. And since it is our first one of the day, don't be afraid to have a little bend in those knees and give yourself a little bit of time to get warmed up before you pass any judgment on your flexibility for the day. All right, so our next 2 ranges of motion, same thing, we're going to connect them with our breathing. So we've got our cobra and our child's pose. So with our inhales, we're going to drop those knees and we're going to press that upper body up. We've got our cobra for that inhale. And then for your exhale, you're just going to shift those hips back into your child's pose, nice big shoulder stretch, nice lower back stretch. So again, flowing with your breath, you've got that inhale into our cobra, and then that exhale back into that child's pose. Just moving a couple of times here, finding, like I said before, just a nice stretch in either direction. Maybe if you need a little extra hold one way or the other, or maybe you just kind of keep moving a little bit faster than, rather than finding a hold. Awesome. 3 more nice deep breaths, so 3 more times in each direction here. And I've got one more nice deep breath, and then I'll meet you all in child's pose at the end of that third breath. Pressing those hips back, taking a moment. We're going to find a lateral stretch here. So when you get to that child's pose, I want you to just walk those hands over the right side of that mat, finding that nice stretch through the left side of the body. And then after you spend about a moment or two there, go ahead and walk those hands through center. We're just going to find that opposite direction stretch. A little bit of extra length through the right side of the body here. And then go ahead, walk those hands back to center, lift those hips, curl those toes under, hips up and back into our down dog once again. Taking just another moment here to pedal out those heels. And then we're going to move to that next stretch. So again, we're going to find our two ranges of motion. We've got our low lunge and our hamstring stretch. So to get to our low lunge, I want you to take that right foot up and back into our three-legged dog, slight bend through that left knee, and then spring that right foot forward to meet those hands into our lunge. When you get there, I want you to make sure you readjust so that the knee is right over the ankle, and then go ahead, drop that back knee, let the top of that foot reach the mat. So once again, we've got our inhale and exhale. For our exhales, we're going to press forward and find a little bit lower of a lunge, a little bit more of a stretch through that back hip flexor. With your inhale, we're going to shift those hips back, bring those front toes up, and find our hamstring stretch. So nice exhale to press forward a little bit deeper into that low lunge, and then a nice inhale to shift the hips back and find that stretch through that long back of that front leg. So once again, flowing with the pace of your breath. If one of these feels particularly good today and you want to take an extra moment in either direction to find a little bit deeper of a stretch, feel free. We're going to spend a couple of moments in this one as well. And I know that my hips start to get tight after I'm sitting for a while, so this low lunge usually feels particularly good for me. Find me 3 more nice deep breaths here. So 3 more times in each direction. And when you finish that third nice deep breath, I want you to press forward. We'll meet in that low lunge. So from our low lunge, we're just going to switch sides and hit the other side. So curl that back toe under, lift that back knee up. We're going to bring the right back to meet the left. So pressing those hips up, bring that right foot back. And then the same thing on that left side. Left foot comes up and back, nice three-legged dog, slight bend through that right knee, spring that left foot forward. Taking a moment once again to check that that knee is right over the ankle, and then go ahead, drop that back knee, let the top of the foot meet the mat, same range of motion. Nice exhale to press a little bit further forward into that stretch, and then an inhale to shift those hips backward and lift that front toe. Same thing on this side, finding that nice movement connected with your breath. Maybe this side feels a little bit different. I know my left is a little bit tighter than my right leg today. That's okay. Just keeping moving, giving myself the leeway to be a little bit more gentle on this side with my hamstring stretch, just because I know that that leg's a little bit tighter and it's going to take a little bit more to get warmed up. Nice. So same thing on this side. Let's find 3 more nice deep breaths here. 3 more times in each direction. And when you finish that third nice deep breath, same as before, we'll meet in that low lunge. Bringing those hands forward, taking that extra half second for that hip flexor here, and then we're gonna move back to our down dog. So go ahead and curl that back toe under, lift that back knee, and then lifting those hips, sweeping that left foot back to meet the right, taking a moment here to find another nice stretch through the back of those legs. So our next range of motion is going to have a little bit more core work involved in it, a little bit more shoulder work. I really like this one because we've got two options. It's a pretty basic range of motion. All we're going to do is find an inhale for this little bit of length up into our down dog, and an exhale to shift out just into a momentary plank. So the shoulders come out over the wrists and the hips come down, and then an inhale to lift back up. So just find a couple of those for me here, nice and simple, moving in that range of motion, really trying to strengthen through your core rather than just using your shoulders to shift you backwards. Making sure that all 10 fingers are in contact with that mat, nice and strong, taking a little bit of stress out of the wrists. Couple here, and then I'll give you an option to move it up a notch. So if this feels good, you can stay right here. If you want to take it up a notch as you shift into our down dog, you can take that opposite hand to the outside of that opposite leg, shifting back into that plank and trading sides. So we're kind of finding that alternating, lifting up that hand, a little bit of balance. If that's a little bit too much, feel free to stay right in that downward dog to plank range of motion, keeping both hands in contact with the mat. Just a little bit of good core and shoulder work here to get the core warmed up. Nice. We're going to find 4 more of these. So if you're moving those hands, twice more on each side. When you finish those last 4, I want you to drop those knees and then press back into child's pose just to give those wrists a little bit of a break. I've got 1 more on each side here, and then we'll meet down in that child's pose. Taking a moment, so maybe when you get there, you just sit back and give those wrists a couple of rolls. Maybe the wrists are feeling pretty good, so you just find a nice stretch in our child's pose. We're gonna move on to a plank exercise next. So I just want you to make sure that you have a second or two to let those wrists recover. And then when you're ready, go ahead and plant those hands, lift those hips, curl the toes under, hips come up and back, down dog once more. All right, so our next move is going to be a little bit of our Pilates. We're going to hit those glutes. So what I want you to do is shift out into that plank. We're going to spend a couple of moments here, so if you need to, you can always drop those knees. And then we're just going to find a glute extension. So keeping the toes pointed towards the ground, we're going to lift one foot up, bring it down and switch sides. Same thing on that other side. Now, if you need a break at any point in this, you're welcome to drop those knees and give yourself a little bit of a break. Or you're also always welcome to find that modified plank and just lift that leg and find that glute extension from our modified plank. Keeping it going, keeping breathing, and making sure that the shoulders stay right over those wrists. We're going to stick in this range of motion for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop those knees, just a tiny little break. I'm just going to change up our range of motion. So give those wrists a break if you need it. Up next, and I'll tell you when to hop into this with me. So right now, just watching, we're in that plank again. This time, instead of just lifting straight up, we're going to tap out to the side and then bring it back in and trade sides. So alternating sides. When you're ready here, let's bring it up to that plank. Shoulders right over those wrists. We're tapping that foot out to the side, bringing it back in and switching directions. So a little bit of core stability side to side here, trying to keep those hips low. Nice, really engaging those glutes, trying to lift up as well as stepping that foot out. We're gonna stay in this range of motion for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and set those knees down, give those wrists a little bit of a break. Taking a moment, once again, either in that child's pose or just rolling those wrists out a couple of times. All right, we're going to change our muscle groups, so we're going to give the wrists a nice big break, and we're going to move to those legs. So we're going to transition through down dog. Go ahead, plant those hands, lift those hips, curl the toes under, hips up and back, down dog. First thing we're going to do is we're going to come into our crescent lunge through a 3-legged dog. Right foot comes up and back, heel towards that back wall. Nice little stretch here, nice little lengthen. Then through that left knee, we're going to spring that right foot forward into our low lunge. Keeping that back heel off the ground, find your balance with your next inhale. Go ahead, sweep those arms up, crescent lunge. Now from here, we're gonna connect this with our breathing. So with your exhales, you're gonna shift down into it and open your arms up, cactus. With your inhale, you're gonna lengthen that front leg and lift those arms up towards the ceiling. So exhaling to shift down, bend through that front knee. Inhaling to lift up, and then just moving with your breath here. So getting a couple of these kind of pulses in. Finding a little bit of length through the upper body as you inhale, and finding a little bit of a chest opener in that cactus as you exhale, bending those elbows, pulling them together behind. We're going to find 4 more here, so big exhale for 4, 3, 2, and the last one, we're going to come all the way down for our exhale, and then all the way up for our inhale. Now I'm going to shift my feet a little bit closer together so I have a more solid base. So just stepping forward just a little bit, and then I'm going to turn my back heel just a tiny bit so that I can plant my foot there. And then we're going to find a nice stretch. So lengthening through that front leg, and then I want you to find a nice big exhale to fold forward over top of that leg. Big stretch through that front leg into our kind of modified pyramid here. And then we're going to find this final twist. So if you're not quite on the ground, you can grab that ankle, and then that right arm, that right leg is forward. Our right arm is going to open up here. If you're on the ground, you can always grab those, or bring those fingertips or that palm towards the mat. Nice little spinal twist. And then big exhale, go ahead and bring that hand back down. And then inhale, go ahead and roll it on up. Okay. So I'm going to shift this back heel so it's back up off the mat. I'm going to keep my feet right where they are, so a little bit narrower of a stance here. We're going to step forward into a small balance pose. So this back leg, my left leg is going to step forward, and I'm going to lift my knee. At any point in this, you need to drop that toe to find your balance again. You're welcome. But I'm going to step it forward, lift that knee, and find my balance. We're going to find about 10 seconds here. So while we're in this balance pose, thinking about strengthening through your core, think about where your hands are. So I kind of bring mine here automatically. Maybe you bring yours up overhead for a little bit more of a challenge. Maybe they're on your hips for a little bit more grounding. We're finding this balance for another 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and just set that foot down right next to the other one. Big inhale, arms come out and up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, nice flat back, long spine. Exhale, forward fold. We're going to step or jump those feet back and then find our downward dog. So bringing them back and then pressing those hips up, finding that nice stretch there. And then we're just going to trade sides here. So big inhale for that 3-legged dog on our left foot. Foot comes up and back. Nice little stretch, nice little lengthening. Bend through that right knee, just bring that left foot forward. All right, so again, we've got our crescent lunge. So when you find your balance here, sweep those arms up into our crescent lunge, back heel stays off the floor. We've got our movement with our breath once again. So for your inhales, we're lengthening up. For your exhales, we're shifting into it, opening those arms into our cactus. Moving again here with the pace of your breath. And once again, trying to find that length as you inhale, and trying to find a little bit of chest opening as you exhale. Taking a little bit of the focus off of those quads. Nice. Awesome work. We're going to find 4 more coming up next. So I'm going to find my inhale, and then we've got our exhale for 1. Inhale to come up. Exhale for 2. Inhale up tall. Exhale for 3. Inhale up tall. Last one. Exhale for 4. And then inhale to lengthen up. So again, I'm going to shorten my stance a little bit. stepping this back foot forward, turning that foot out so that the toes face this side wall and the foot can come planted. Big inhale, arms come up, and then we're gonna fold forward into that nice big stretch for that front leg. Opening the back of that front leg up and just finding this stretch here, kind of intense on that left side. Ooh. And then we're gonna find that chest opener here. So once again, if that hand meets the ground, you can keep it right there. If you need to bring it over and find that ankle, that's totally fine, or if you have a block. And then opening that left hand up. So our left foot is forward, our left hand is opening, finding that chest opener. Nice big exhale to bring it down. All right, we've got our balance next. So inhale to stand it up. Bringing that back heel up off the ground. Little bend. We're going to bring that back foot forward, lifting that knee. Nice little 10-second balance here. Same thing. Think about that nice strong core. That's what's keeping you balanced here. Think about where the arms need to be. Maybe you take them up for that little bit of an extra challenge. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and set that foot down. Big inhale, arms come out and up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, nice long spine, flat back. Exhale, back into that forward fold. Bend those knees if you need to. Plant those, hang on, step up those feet back, and then bring it up into that down dog one more time. From here, we're gonna shift out into our plank, and then nice and slow, go ahead and lower all the way down to the floor. When you reach the floor, I just adjust it backwards a little bit so I have some space out in front. Go ahead, take those hands right out in front. We're gonna work through that back for a couple of exercises today. So starting with our X lifts, I've got my right hand and my left leg. They're gonna lift up off of that floor and then lower back down and switch sides. So alternating here, just starting by getting that back nice and warmed up, finding that little bit of tension through the lower back and the shoulders as we lift, using those glutes to lift the legs off the floor. And as always, don't forget to breathe here. All right, keeping going in this for another 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, lowering down. Now this is always an option for you if you've got any kind of tension through that lower back that's uncomfortable when you lift from both sides. I want you to just step it back to that X lift at any point here if you need to. Up next, we're gonna find our swimming with a little lat activation, or excuse me, a Superman with a lat activation. So those feet can always stay planted if you need them to, or they can lift up to up that intensity as you lift the upper body. We're gonna bend at the elbows and pull them down towards the sides. I'm pulling my shoulder blades together, really activating through my back, and then extending back out and lowering down. So it's a lift, pull the shoulders in, or the elbows in, extending out and bringing it back down. So finding a couple of these for me. If this finds any kind of pain through the lower back or creates a little bit too much tension for you, you can start by leaving those feet on the floor. And like I said, you can always step it back to those X lifts. So I really like this one because sometimes with body weight, it's a little bit tough to target those muscles in the back. And this range of motion while we're activating and then pulling those shoulder blades together and those elbows down starts to really activate through those muscles. Keeping going in this range of motion for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Wherever you are, finish out that rep and then lower it down. We've got one more step up. So again, you can keep it right there, or you can step it back to that X lift. We're gonna find our swimming. We're gonna do just 20 seconds in our swimming here. So what that will be is lifting up, and then you've got that opposite arm, opposite leg pulse. So a little bit of extra work here, just 20 seconds. We'll get started with our swimming in 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. So lifting up in both directions, and then just pulsing those arms and legs back and forth. just like you would if you were trying to paddle to stay on top of some water. As always, don't forget to breathe and try and keep that neck nice and neutral and long. So looking down towards the floor more than up. We've got 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and lower. And then we're going to bring it back into our child's pose just to give that lower back a nice little stretch. So bringing those knees wide, those feet together, and then go ahead and bring those hips back towards the heels. We're going to spend just a moment here, and then we'll move on and get a little bit more core work in today. All right, so when you're ready, we're gonna flip it over. So I'm just gonna shift my hips around and bring my feet to the front of my mat, however is best for you to get there. Go ahead and join me when you're ready. Give myself a little bit more space here. All right. So first thing we're gonna do for our core front today is just gonna be our roll-ups. So starting from this position, as always, you've got the option of the knees bent and the feet planted. To take it up a notch, you can lengthen those legs long. As we exhale, we're gonna roll it down nice and slow towards the floor, resisting gravity there. With your next inhale, those arms come up overhead, and then trying to use as little momentum as you need to get up off the floor. Nice big exhale to roll it up. So as always, if you need that momentum of those arms, you're welcome to use it. Inhale for our long spine at the top, exhale to roll it back down. So if you need that momentum, you can circle those arms around with a little more force to come up off the floor. And then I just want you to move with the pace of your breath here. So those inhales, we're finding our long spine at the bottom and those long spines at the top. Our exhales are as we're moving between the two positions. And the down range of motion is just as important as the up. So really trying to accentuate that you're resisting against gravity there as you roll down and not just letting yourself flop back down onto your mat. If you need a little challenge here, you're welcome to bring this up into our boat pose. So when you roll up and you reach the top, lifting those feet, finding your boat for a moment, and then lowering back down. If that doesn't feel quite right today, or you're using a lot of momentum to get up, I invite you to just keep going with those roll-ups. We're going to keep moving for about another 15 seconds here. So just keep breathing, keep that core working. Nice work. Find this range of motion for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to finish down on the floor. So if you were up tall, go ahead and roll it on back. And then we're going to find some hip circles. So I really like this one because I think that sometimes I neglect my hips a little bit more than I should. And as someone who enjoys physical activity, those hips are super important, getting that nice strength and stretch. So leaving that left foot on the floor, we're going to take that right foot up towards the ceiling. We're going to start by bringing the foot across the body, down, around, and then we're going to pause at the top. So with our exhale, you can use those arms for support, some support, there we go. Exhaling to bring that leg down across the body, around, and then back up towards the ceiling. Pause to inhale, and then same thing, exhale down and around. We're going to do a couple in this direction. I'll let you know when to switch. So just keeping it moving, trying to keep those hips stable. So the more stable the rest of your body is, the more you're getting that work for that hip. Nice little pause at the top for that inhale. And then that exhale as the leg moves in that nice big circle. Give me 2 more in this direction, and then we're going to switch directions that that leg is moving. So that little pause at the top for that inhale. After that second one, all we're going to do is change directions. So the first direction my foot is going to go is away from the center line of my body. It's going to come around and back up. So we're still working with that right leg. We've just changed the direction of our circle, focusing in on your breathing. Once again, big exhale as the leg moves. Inhale as it pauses at the top. Nice work, you guys. Just a couple in this direction. Awesome. Give me 2 more on this leg in this direction. When you finish that second one, I wish you take a little bit of recovery. So however that feels good, maybe you pull the knee in towards the chest, maybe you let the knee fall out towards the side. Whatever's good, we're going to take a moment here to give that hip a second before we switch it up. Now the second time, or the second side, it's a little bit tougher than the first. All right, and then we're just gonna switch those legs. So I want you to take that right leg out long onto that mat. That left leg comes up towards the ceiling. Same as the other side. We're gonna start with the leg coming across the body. So first range of motion, big exhale, leg comes across, down, around, and then that pause at the top for our inhale, getting going on this side. Same thing, I'll let you know when to switch directions. Gotta get moving here, get that hip going. Nice big circles, but trying to keep that body nice and stable as it's on the floor. Nice, good work, good work. Give me 2 more in this direction before we switch. When you finish those 2, same as that other side, we're just gonna switch directions. So the leg comes away from the center line of the body first, around, and then back up. So same thing when you finish those last 2 in that first direction, just switching directions, still going with this left leg. Nice. Give me 2 more in this direction here. When you finish those last 2, same thing, take that second for a recovery. Maybe you pull both knees in towards the chest. Maybe you find that little bit of a butterfly stretch for those hips, whatever feels good here. Maybe just a couple of little circles just to get it moving a little bit differently. Whew. Alrighty, we are gonna move right on because we've only got a couple minutes left. I wanna hit a few more core exercises. We're gonna start with our leg lowers, so hitting that core front in full. So first things first, go ahead and take both of those feet up towards the ceiling. Those hands can come out wide as always, or they can come right under those hips for a little bit more support through your range of motion that keeps your lower back nice and stable in that natural arch. Bringing those feet down towards the floor, and then nice big exhale as you change directions and bring them back up towards the ceiling. Just getting it going right here for a couple of reps, getting that core front reactivated. As I said, trying to keep that lower back nice and stable. So we've all got a little bit of natural arch in the lower back. That's okay if it's a little bit up off the floor, but it shouldn't change as you move those legs down and back up. If it does change, then I just want you to decrease that range of motion for these last 3 leg lowers here. After that third one, if you are ready to keep going and that core feels good, take those feet up for our recovery. If you need a little break, pull those knees in towards the chest for our recovery. The next thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna demo it twice and then you can join me. So I'm gonna take my fingertips up towards my feet this time. We're gonna do bi-directional leg lowers. So first thing I'm gonna do is find a crunch in this direction, fingertips up towards the feet. Lower those shoulders, keeping those fingertips up for a little bit more challenge, bringing those hands or those feet down and back up. So it's a one side and then the other side. When you're ready, lengthen those legs up towards the ceiling. Let's get going with this. We've got that upper body crunch and then that lower body leg lower. A little bit of core work to finish us off here. Nice. I want you to find 3 more of these, 3 more in each direction. After that third one, Go ahead and pull those knees in towards the chest. Taking that a little bit of time for recovery here. All right, up next, we're gonna hit those obliques. We've got 2 exercises. First thing first, we've got our penguins. Bend those knees, plant those feet, point those fingertips towards the heels. We're gonna lift the head and shoulders just slightly up off that mat, and then through that range of motion, we're just gonna shift the shoulders side to side, aiming those fingertips towards those heels. If they don't quite reach them, that's okay, but that's just helping us find that range of motion. Penguins getting going here. We've got a couple of seconds in this position. Trying to keep the neck nice and long. So if this brings a lot of stress through the neck, maybe think about having about a tennis ball size space between the chin and the chest. Keeping going here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and bring it back to center. Let that upper body rest down. Like I said, we had 2 oblique exercises. Our next one, commonly known as the bicycle in Pilates, we call it the crisscross. We're going to take those knees up to that nice 90 degrees and place those hands just gently behind the head. Now this one, I want you to go super slow and controlled and try and bring that long leg a little lower and longer than you usually do. So one leg is going to lengthen, and then that opposite elbow is going to come towards that bent knee. And then just nice and controlled, switching back and forth. This doesn't need to be fast to be effective. That pause on either side actually, in my opinion, makes this a little bit harder and a little bit more effective. So just keeping moving in this range of motion. We've got a couple of seconds here. This is our last working exercise for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to roll up to seated. So bring it on up. I'm going to turn to face the camera, and we're going to finish out with the spinal twist that we didn't start with today because I wanted to use this as our cool down. Nice inhale, nice long spine. Exhale to spinal twist in that rightward direction, flowing a couple of times with your breath here. Nice big inhales through center, and then that exhale over in that opposite direction, keeping it going. Awesome. Find 2 more nice deep breaths, once more in each direction. And then after those 2 nice deep breaths, go ahead and bring it back to center. Our nice long spine, our comfortable seated position. We're going to finish out today's practice as usual with just 1 nice deep breath, leading with those arms. Big inhale, go ahead and bring those arms out and up. Those palms meet right overhead. Exhale to pull them down to heart center. As always, thank you so much for practicing with me. Thank you for being here today. The light in me honors the light in you, bowing as we say, namaste. All right, awesome work, you guys. Thanks for being here.